being with us tonight on KUTV's news at 9. You are just in time. As is the custom, we'll begin with the highlights. Kenyans across 47 counties invited to present their views on Gachagwa's impeachment as per the constitutional requirement. Various public hospitals across the country struggle to administer services due to member unregistration amidst the new health scheme rollout. Government targets to hit an annual average of 5 million tourists by 2027 as President William Ruto announces introduction of the digital nomad work permit for visitors to Kenya. KU Rehab stakeholders hold advisory meeting discussing various ways on how to empower women economically.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Yvonne Kemuma.
On the sign language interpretation tonight is Lucy Kiarie. Engage with us on X at Kemuma_Monari at KUTV_Kenya. The National Assembly, through a Gazette notice issued this Wednesday, is inviting Kenyans from across the 47 counties to present their views, either written or oral, for the impeachment motion of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on the 4th of October 2024. Residents of Nairobi will converge at KICC, while those residing in Kiambu County will march all the way to the Kiambu Hall, among other designated places.
Whether you support the ouster motion of embattled Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua or not, you now have a chance to make your opinion count. This is after the National Assembly issued a Gazette notice on Wednesday inviting the public to make oral or written submissions during the public hearing set to be held on Friday this week across the country. For residents of Nairobi County, their point of convergent venues include Kenyatta International Convention Center, while Kiambu County residents will meet at Kiambu Social Hall. The process is the part of the constitutional requirement under Article 182 of the Constitution, which mandates Parliament to facilitate citizen engagement in such processes. The moment of reckoning awaits Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who will then have a date with the members of the National Assembly on 8th of October this month to fight for his dear life as his fate squarely hangs on the balance. Gachagua's 2 years tenure has been bedeviled by a frosty relationship with his boss President William Ruto, with Ruto's allies trading their guns on the second most powerful man in the land, accusing him of disrespecting the president and sabotage of government from within. Gachagua is also accused of violating Articles 147, 148, 174, 186 and 189 of the Constitution, which speaks to his conduct and responsibility as the principal assistant to the president. The DP is further accused of corruptly and unlawfully acquiring assets using taxpayers' money, among other charges.
I will be demonstrating before this house to Kenyans and to the international community.
On Tuesday, Kibwezi West Member of Parliament Mwengi Mutise used the same grounds to table a motion to impeach Gachagua in the National Assembly, supported by the staggering number of 291 lawmakers who appended their signature to the motion.
Mr. Speaker, as members will realize, the particulars of these grounds are that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has engaged himself in acts of omission and commission that constitute offenses under our Constitution, offenses under international law, and offenses under our own statutes.
For now, it's race against time to make your submission count as Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua goes down in history as the first sitting deputy president to face an impeachment motion. Whether he survives or not, only time will tell. Ahuma Evans for KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, a retired National Intelligence Service NIS officer, Thomas Kimotho, has filed a petition against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, seeking a public apology for remarks made by the second-in-command on the 26th of June 2024 in Mombasa. Kimotho alleges that the statement in which Gachagua criticized the NIS for failing to properly brief President William Ruto on public sentiments regarding the controversial Finance Bill 2024 has tarnished the reputation of the NIS member. The petitioner claims that the remarks have violated his constitutional rights. In his plea, Kimotho is asking the court to compel Gachagua to issue a formal apology to NIS members, staff, and affiliates for the harmful statements. The petition also seeks a temporary injunction to halt any impeachment proceedings against the DP.
And that the first respondent, that is Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of Kenya, to issue an apology to the NIS members and staff or any person affiliated to the NIS for the utterances and or speech made on the 26th June 2024 at Mombasa.
Health facilities in different counties across the country, such as Nakuru and Migori, are struggling to attend to patients as the national government intensifies registration into the Social Health Authority's SHA program. In Migori County, a significant influx of patients has put a strain on the system, with many individuals yet to register for the new health insurance scheme.
Just a day after the official introduction of the Social Health Authority, the new health scheme appears to be battling significant challenges across counties such as Nakuru and Migori. According to St. Joseph's Ombo Mission Hospital Finance Officer Felix Okello, a majority of patients coming through their doors have not registered for SHA, forcing the hospital to demand cash payments, a situation that has created difficulties for both patients and the facility itself.
Today, as we are rolling out this SHA, we've met a lot of challenges because we are perplexed that some of the things that the government was saying had not come by the first day of this SHA. Now the patients are coming, some of them were capitated here last quarter. Now there is no capitation. They've not been registered to SHA. So it gives us a lot of challenge that we are just treating them through cash. Those who cannot pay cash are just supposed to wait for their relative to send them cash, because even the gadgets that the government promised that will be installed are not installed. They could have looked into circumstances surrounding it so that you don't subject hospitals to work in uncertainties. Now we are another quarter. There is also payment. The government has not paid for a period of 2 months.
Migori County Executive Committee member for Health, Caleb Opondi, assured that efforts are being made to ease the registration process. Opondi confirmed that over 200 devices have been provided by the national government to support the registration of patients into SHA through the assistance of trained community health promoters distributed across health facilities, including private hospitals.
So far, we have received over 200 gadgets for registration, and our CHPs, that is the community health promoters, also were trained online, and in our level 4 facilities, there was a physical training for our health workers. Since we received these gadgets late last evening, between today and tomorrow we shall be doing distribution of the gadgets which will be used for registration in all our health facilities, including the private health facilities.
David Nyamohanga, a primary health care promoter, expressed confidence in the success of the registration process, saying it will proceed smoothly.
A team that is ready to oversee the process. We have coordinators at sub-county level, and the organization is that will definitely have hubs, mini hubs, and spokes, so that the spokes are those level 3s and level 2s that will be linking a patient from that low level to either mini hub or hubs where there are.
Despite the current challenges, health officials across the country remain optimistic that the rollout of SHA will ultimately improve access to healthcare services for residents. Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
National Treasury and Economic Planning Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi now says that his ministry is working to implement a unified payroll system and aimed at eliminating ghost workers in government entities. Mbadi spoke as he appeared before the Senate on Wednesday for questioning on several pressing issues.
While appearing before the Senate on Wednesday for questioning, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi explained the eCitizen platform collects the full payment amount, stating that the payments that fail to reflect are caused by discrepancies in the payment format. Mbadi, however, stated that the government, through the ECT authority, has taken full control of the platform under a 3-year contract, after which an evaluation will determine its effectiveness.
Speaker, this system has now been handed over to the government fully, and it is being operated under contractual arrangements with ICT authority, which is like the department driving.
Treasury boss further highlighted that his ministry is on course to implement a unified payroll system to eliminate ghost workers in government entities, a move expected to free up funds for development.
When I joined the ministry was to find out the status and the position and where the e-procurement system, which is end-to-end system, was. And Mr. Speaker, I was surprised that what the bottleneck was the 560 million to roll out the system.
Following the rollout of the Social Health Authority, Mbadi acknowledged that exact figures that were under the NHIF remain unclear, making it difficult to address the issue promptly.
What are we trying to do to avoid any future, to avert demonstrations similar to the ones that we witnessed? My ministry has embarked on a process of being more open and transparent on the steps and processes that we take, especially regarding proposals on taxation and such like initiatives.
The government, as stated by Mbadi, is said to have secured 36 billion concessional loan from China to fund 15 roads projects to improve infrastructure.
We managed to negotiate a loan with the China through China Development Bank. We negotiated a concessionary loan of 36 billion equivalent of Kenya shillings to take up about 15 roads. One would ask, why those roads? These were roads which were being constructed through GOK funds, but were awarded to Chinese contractors.
John Mbadi's Senate appearance was vital, addressing e-citizen payment failures, NHIF pending bills, and efforts to eliminate ghost workers, underscoring the government's transparency and accountability in its operations. Dana Nashipai, KUTV.
Now, the tourism industry in the country is set to receive a major boost after President William Ruto announced the introduction of a digital nomad work permit and long connection travelers electronic travel authorization ETA that allows visitors in Kenya enjoy their stay without any difficulty. Ruto, who was speaking during the opening of the 14th edition of the Magical Kenya Travel Expo, hinted that Kenya aims to welcome at least 5 million visitors annually by the year 2027.
With tourism standing as a key economic pillar for Kenya and a critical vehicle for job creation, President Ruto in Nairobi's Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum announced that Kenya targets to attract 5 million visitors annually by 2027. To achieve this, the head of state, who was speaking while opening the 14th edition of Magical Kenya Travel Expo, announced that a raft of new initiatives aimed at allowing visitors to Kenya to enjoy their stay, whether on long travel or working remotely, while sampling the country's natural beauty without any difficulty.
Now be possible for travelers who have 12 hours, instead of spending it at the airport, they can step out. They can come and enjoy a meal in the city. They can go to the national park. They can see our wildlife, they can visit our National Museum and be able to travel back.
Ruto further called up upon all sectors under the tourism industry to join hands in order to position Kenya as a must-visit tourist destination.
Kenya, as we all know and has been said ably, is the cradle of humanity, with a wealth of archaeological evidence identifying the East African savanna as the site where our earliest ancestors lived. Specifically, the Lake Turkana Basin in northern Kenya is where some of the earliest human remains were discovered.
Ruto expressed optimism that by the end of the year, Kenya will have received the highest number of tourism in the Kenyan history, standing at 2.5 million, and by 2027, the country will be welcoming over 5 million tourists annually.
We have implemented a visa-free policy, making it easy for us to welcome people from every part of the world, both tourists and business travelers, to visit Kenya, and for all our visitors to come home without any difficulty.
This year's Magical Kenya Tourism Expo, which runs until 4th of October, has attracted over 4,000 delegates, underlining its status as the premium tourism trade platform in East and Central Africa. Rukia Hussein, KUTV.
Many thanks, Rukia Hussein, for that insightful report. Now, with that report, we will take our first break here on KUTV's News at 9. Engage with us on X at KUTV_Kenya. We'll be back.
Kenyatta University's Chancellor Ambassador Dr. Francis Muthaura will hold a public lecture at the university's amphitheater on Friday, 4th October 2024 at 10 a.m. Ambassador Dr. Francis Muthaura has served as a civil servant and a diplomat in the Kenyan government, holding various distinguished positions like the Kenyan ambassador to EU, Belgium and Luxembourg, and a permanent representative to the United Nations in New York. He boasts of the Moran of the Burning Spear and Elder of the Golden Heart. The public lecture themed strengthening the future of higher education through strategic reforms and stakeholder engagement will be live on KUTV and all Kenyatta University's social media platforms.
Waswahili kwamba anayekataa pema pabaya panamuita. Leo tunakufunza mapishi, tutakuwa tunakufunza jinsi ya kuandaa samaki wa baharini. Niko kimerimeta. Samaki mtamu.
Continue engaging with us on X at KUTV_Kenya, at Kemuma_Monari. We are streaming live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya. Now, civil society organizations under the Kenya Climate Change Working Group, KCCWG, are now piling pressure on industrialized nations to provide financial support to African countries, emphasizing on the need of funding to help those nations to mitigate the impact of climate change. The organization says that the $100 billion allocated to Africa several years ago to address climate change has never been received by the continent, and are worried that the current one might also fail to achieve its intended purpose.
Our clarion call as civil society organizations is, please tell us the truth, deliver, and polluter pays principle must apply in terms of what we are doing as a country and in the whole world. We know that issue of technology transfer is very critical. Nevertheless, technology must also be given together with resources.
One of the biggest challenges that we face is access to finance. Access to finance at all the levels, and of course it's very expensive to get funding for many projects in the Kenyan context.
The Kenyatta University Women's Economic Hub, KUV Hub, organized a high-level stakeholder and advisory forum where scholars presented their assessments of various ways to economically empower women in societies. Here is the full report prepared by our gender reporter Caroline Kimwele as KUV Hub celebrates its 4th year since inception.
Yeah, for the teacher.
Media involvement emerged as a key issue during the advisory meeting at Kenyatta University's Women's Economic Empowerment Hub meeting, popularly known as KUV Hub, to advance critical steps in empowering women economically through training in various fields, as highlighted by KU's media teams. KU's Vice Chancellor Professor Washeke Wanjohi, represented by Deputy Vice Chancellor for Administration Professor James Kungu, highlighted the importance of involving researchers and scholars to enable women's social and economic development within the community.
We understand that research can be a powerful catalyst for change, and through our programs and initiatives, we strive to equip women with the skills and opportunities they need to succeed. This project, therefore, was started with a goal to promote women's economic empowerment through policy-driven research. It was envisaged that the evidence produced through all the 14 studies in the project would be utilized by our counties and national governments and other players to shape policies, programs, interventions, and advocacy efforts.
The leader of KUV Hub, Professor Judith Waudo, emphasized the goal of finding economic solutions for women.
The idea is actually for you also to identify for us, we know, but also just to concretize areas that we can be able to upscale. In the last 3 weeks, we had a meeting with the Bill and Melinda Gates representative in Kenya, and she told us there are some areas, because we share with her quite a bit, areas that she feels we can upscale. And for the hub, when we began 4 years ago, we said we are starting this hub. We don't want it to stop after the project. We want to continue. So we are looking for several ways for actually continuity of this hub.
At inception, the goal was to develop research concept notes that would lead to generation of credible data to influence women economic empowerment policy and programs. The concept notes have since given rise to 14 research studies, each providing key policy recommendations, some of which have already been taken up by policymakers for implementation.
At this forum, some of the lead researchers from KUV Hub projects presented their evaluations and recommendations on how to economically empower women under 3 main themes, including women's participation in the economy, skills, mentorship and lifelong learning, violence crisis and women's work.
On women's participation in management and leadership positions, the team conducted a gender audit that assessed the representation of women in management positions in public service for the period 2010 to 2020. The results revealed a decrease in the proportion of women holding those senior and executive positions.
So the transferable skills project dealt with young women and girls. So that project was training the CAPC project in Mombasa was training the girls and women on businesses so that they see those who can be employed. So they were given skills.
The standards for the tour operators, and our information was incorporated into it. I'm saying our information because I'm the PI for that area. Again, accommodation providers with gender data and gender did the manual.
Professor Simon Onywere emphasized the importance of caring for and including children in education as a key way to support women's economic activities.
Kwa hivyo tena inakuwa jukumu lako mama kufikiria sana. Ukienda kazi, wakati wote unaenda kazi mahali fulani, unafikiria, mafikira yako inakuwa kwa mtoto. Kwa hiyo fanye ile kazi vizuri. Kwa hii mradi tulionelea kwamba kama kuna njia ya kusaidia mama wapate watoto wao wapate malezi kwa njia ile inapendeza na ile watoto wanapenda kufanya hiyo masomo na ama kwa mahali wanapenda pale wakienda huko. Na tumeona hii ya kwamba wale watoto tunafanya experiment nao saa hii wakienda shule, wakipelekwa shule na mama yao wanataka mama arudi nyumbani ili hao wakimbie kwa class waende kuchumulika na watoto wengi. Hiyo inafurahisha kina mama.
James Onditi, Administration and Finance Manager of KUTVNEWS, outlined the funding and financial management methods that have enabled various projects under KUTVNEWS to thrive.
And from this high-level budget lines, you can see that we have budget lines for personnel, travel, consultants, equipment, other direct costs. Other direct costs is where we are doing our research activities, our communication and advocacy activities, and all other related research activities.
Counties also demonstrated their contributions towards empowering women.
As a county government of Tharaka Nithi, you know, basically when you support women, you support generations, and we support children, you support the future. So when this call for proposal came up in partnership or with support of KU Women Economic Hub, we were able to develop the proposal together. So basically as a county, ours is to provide the expertise in this case, also support in terms of ensuring that aspect of monitoring and ensuring that program runs is being implemented.
However, these researchers provided their recommendations on the steps to follow to fully achieve the goal of empowering women.
We want to engage stakeholders and get more on some of the promises that they have given us. We also want to get to, especially these two, that gender principle. This is an area that is with so much within us, because we know what it would open for this country. And also, the area of agriculture, where women are just farming or working in the fields, and they are not getting any serious returns.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which funds KUTVNEWS, praised the projects being implemented by KU to economically empower women.
This was a competitive bidding process. I must give them a lot of credit. When this work was beginning of Kenya, that is the starting a Women Economic Empowerment Evidence Hub, there were many bidders. And they struggled to be top. I think we've got two such hubs in Kenya, University of Nairobi and Kenyatta University. These are the two top leading universities in Kenya. And if you talk about research and evidence and policy engagement, who else would you think about? And especially when they have also demonstrated that through winning it competitively.
Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Smile.
Come back, let's get the sports news.
Safari Sevens. The highly anticipated Safari Sevens rugby tournament is set to return this year at the Kenyatta Stadium, Machakos County, from October 11th to the 13th, with this year marking its 26th edition. The event promises fans and participants a thrilling experience by breaking away from the traditional Nairobi setting. Machakos County Government, which will be hosting the event for the first time alongside the Kenya Rugby Union, have confirmed that preparations are complete and all is set for the international tournament that will see a host of teams from the UK, France, Zimbabwe and Uganda participate. The tournament has been earmarked as one that will play a crucial role in showcasing the best of what the country has to offer in terms of sports tourism destinations.
Safari Sevens is more of international teams coming down. So it's not the local boys, the local clubs, and these are clubs. It's an international teams that are coming. The UK teams are coming. Teams from France are coming. Our noisy neighbors, we like calling them the noisy neighbors. That is, the Ugandans are coming. Zimbabweans are coming. So it's an international event. And if you ask me, why bring it to Machakos?
Speaking ahead of the event, Governor Wavinya Ndeti expressed her excitement for Machakos County hosting the event, highlighting it as more than just a rugby tournament, but a celebration of sportsmanship, teamwork, and pursuit of excellence.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the 26th edition of the Safari Sevens Rugby Tournament. Today, we gather here not just as spectators of thrilling sport, but as a community that cherishes the spirit of unity, competition, and growth.
Kenya Rugby Union Vice Chairman Moses Ndale stated that the decision to host the popular event at Machakos County this year was to spread the sport to the rural areas. Ndale called on the players and fans to bring in positive energy and ensure a strong turnout to boost local economy.
Let's go to Machakos. Let's bring rugby to Machakos. Safari 7 is one of our biggest events in our calendar of Kenya Rugby Union. And the reason that we've decided to bring down to Machakos is basically for where we are looking at spreading the game to mashinani. And the beauty is that we have a number of clubs in Machakos, and the big names that you've been seeing on telly, seeing them playing all over the world, those are the guys that will see them playing down here in 10 days.
For KUTV Sports, I'm Sam Mitiaki.
Now, thank you for being with us tonight. That is all the time we had for you tonight. Remember, you can continue engaging with us on X at KUTV_Kenya, at Kemuma_Monari. We have been streaming live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya. You can catch more of our programming on the same channel. Now, that is all the time we had. My name is Yvonne Kemuma. Our sign language interpreter tonight was Lucy Kiarie, and on behalf of the entire team that made this particular production successful tonight, thank you and stay blessed.